All right. Welcome to this week's Traveling on Everyday Spend Weekly Points and Miles Report. Have so many things to talk about and really happy to be able to share that with you all tonight. Um, First and foremost, thank you to each and every person that takes the time to watch this live stream, whether it's live or whether it's recorded. We obviously record it each time and put chapters on it to make it as easy as possible for you to be able to maneuver through, but want to be your place to be able to get all the information you need for the week ahead. So let's not waste any of your time and jump right into the agenda that we have for today. So we're going to cover talking about the credit card offers ending soon, like we normally do. There's a lot to talk about. Transfer bonuses. We're going to talk about Hilton continuing their expansion of the small luxury hotels. We're also going to touch on Fiji Airways joining American Airlines in the very near future into their AAdvantage program, a purchasing opportunity for AAdvantage miles. Then we're going to touch on Reddit's first topic for tonight, and it's about spending points and miles. I thought it was an interesting topic and wanted to bring that to you. And then a new topic to bring to you each week is it's the bargain redemption of the week. And hopefully that'll be helpful for some. Then we're going to talk about the Ilisian Athens, which is a new Hilton compound, essentially, that'll be in Athens. We'll talk about American Express acquiring a new dining platform of Tock. We're going to also talk about AMEX not having the exclusivity of the escape lounges going forward. We'll talk about the new Delta One lounge that's now open. And then topic number 2 for Reddit, and it's about rebuilding credit and credit card management. And I thought that would be a very good topic and to be able to share some of my thoughts and experiences with that. So look forward to being able to do that. And want to say hey to John. Thanks for stopping through. Know you've got a lot of other things going on, but really appreciate you stopping through. So let's go ahead and look at our first topic on the credit card offers ending soon. So we continue to have the Hilton Honors credit cards of the Honors, the Surpass, and the Aspire, all going through July 31st. I did do a live stream that went over the Hilton Honors program. I'll make sure to put a link for that into the description after this is over to help you to be able to select which card may be best for you. And then same thing with the Marriott card. We're going to look at that as well. And we still have that business card that's available, best in card history. And I'll have a link related to the Marriott program that we talked about. And then we have the American Express Gold, which we are still seeing 90,000 points that you can be able to do through your private or incognito mode. And then I was able to go into American Express Platinum and saw redemption for 125,000 points. While I'm seeing other places talking about 120,000 points with a referral link or with some other type of thing. So if interested, definitely make sure to check your incognito modes. Those, especially for American Express, a lot of times you will be able to get some excellent redemptions on that you don't normally see. And want to make sure to say hi to Matt. Really appreciate you stopping through. I know you got a lot of things. Always got another video that's coming out almost seemingly every day. He's a great content creator as well as John. And then we have the American Express cards for the Delta program. Some very good redemptions if you are a person that is a loyalist for Delta to consider. And then we, as far as Chase, I still will keep talking about the Freedom Flex incognito mode. I looked at that today and saw 10% on groceries. So whether you want the cash of a $200 cash back or a hybrid or straight 10% for groceries, if you go into the incognito mode, you will see a lot of different offers for one that may suit you if you're interested in that card. We also have the British Airways, Aer Lingus, and Iberia cards are still going on. And then we did lose the Southwest personal cards bonus at 85,000, but then they came right back and did the Southwest business credit cards for up to 120,000 miles. Now, the interesting thing with this is 80,000 points with $5,000 worth of spend in the first 3 months. And then you can get another 40,000 points with 15,000 spent in a total of 9 months. Now, there was some reporting that the Chase site showed that this redemption, this offer was going to be available into September. I did not see that myself. But if that was the case, then you could potentially get the companion pass with just this one card. But you would have to be able to meet that $15,000 spend and turn it around in 3 months. If it did run through September, get all of the spending done by December, have the points hit in the beginning of January, and then now you have 2 years worth of companion pass. But like I said, I did not see that September date that was referenced. So if interested in anything like that, might want to keep an eye out and might want to check with Chase to see if of what they may have going on with that. But that's not something I was able to see. I want to say hey to Mr. Coco. Thank you so much for stopping through, sir. Always appreciate you coming through. Um, and then, of course, the Chase United cards we've talked about, and I'll make sure to put a link for that in the description as well for that. We don't know what date that's going to end. So if you are a United loyalist, definitely consider looking at that and don't hold off too long before it might go away. And then, of course, for City, we still have the City Strata Premier, the City AAdvantage personal card at the 100,000 miles for $10,000 worth of spend in the first 3 months. And I believe the Barclays Advantage Aviator is still available. So all of that are the credit card intro bonus offers that we've got. And want to say thanks for stopping through, Xavier ID. Really appreciate you stopping through and taking your time. And let's move on to as far as the transfer bonuses, not too much going on. We still have Avianca for a few more days at 15% with American Express. But we do have Aeroplan through Chase as well as Cathay Pacific through Citi. So those are going to be some options to be able to look at. Very versatile points, especially with Avianca and Aeroplan, but not necessarily something to look at speculating for doing a redemption. They're not necessarily earth-shattering. So let's talk about Hilton continuing their expansion of the small luxury hotels. As we know, they ended up taking over their relationship with small luxury hotels earlier this year. And I believe about a week or two ago, we talked about that there were 3 hotels that were showing up in the system. One in Spain, one in London, and then one on the Balearic Islands near Spain, I believe. And those 3 were rolled out. Well, now we are up to 18. And I wanted to make sure that you're aware of where these 18 are at so that you can take a look at those. So we've got 2 in the United States, the Wentworth Mansion in Charleston, South Carolina, and the Rusty Parrot Lodge that's in Jackson, Wyoming. We have 1 in Antigua, 1 in China, 1 in Denmark, 1 in the Dominican Republic, 3 in Great Britain, 1 in Hong Kong, 3 in Italy, 1 in Morocco, 1 in Nicaragua, and the Kalala Island, I believe that's how it's pronounced. That location is very well known, very personal service because I believe there's only 5 rooms or places for lodging on that island to be able to use. 2 in Spain, 1 in Switzerland. Now, the one thing when you go on to the site to look, it looks like there is really no availability. I basically went through a lot of it and had nothing but sold out for many months on that. Now, the one thing I did end up seeing was the Rusty Parrot, which is in Jackson, Wyoming. I've been to Jackson for a previous job conference in Jackson Hole, and then of course you got Jackson nearby. Very beautiful area near the Grand Teton Mountains. That one I ended up seeing at the end of October for $435 to $640, and the point value was going to be 94,000 to 105,000 points. So it's not necessarily the greatest redemption in the world, but I think that if you are able to maximize that fifth night free, will really help take it someplace. And I think maybe once we start actually seeing more availability, maybe we might see a little bit more with that. So things to keep in mind with Hilton. That small luxury hotel situation is going to be something to keep an eye on. And with the benefits that you're going to be able to get, even at gold status, is going to be something to look at. I want to say good afternoon to RJ. Thanks for stopping through, sir. Really appreciate your time to do so. So that's what we have for small luxury hotels. So don't get discouraged if you start looking at the site and not seeing much, because I think they're still trying to build this whole setup there. So be a little bit of patient, but keep your eye out for that. And so let's now talk about Fiji Airways. They are going to be joining the American Airlines AAdvantage program soon. Fiji Airways is the national carrier for Fiji. They are the only airline that operates nonstop flights to Fiji, mainly from the West Coast, Vancouver, LAX, San Francisco, I believe. Now, that loyalty partnership does not have a date of when they're going to go live, but they say in the coming year, in quotes. So don't know if that means later this year or we're talking about 2025. Now, they will become a full member of One World in 2025. Same thing, we don't know what date that's going to be available. Now, there will have reciprocal benefits. So you'll be able to book Fiji Airways with your American AAdvantage miles, which should be really nice. As far as a quick thought, for it being a carrier for such a small country, they have a very great, very good network of 26 destinations in 15 countries, but especially in the South Pacific. If you have any interest in doing that, this may be an option for you, but we'll need to get more information of when this is going to actually kick into play. But definitely looking forward to that. And then we'll stay on American Airlines. There is an opportunity to purchase miles with up to a 50% discount that may be of interest to some people. Now, this will run until June 30th, and you're going to be able to, if you're not a AAdvantage member, you'll be able to get up to 150,000 miles. And if you are a member, 400,000 miles. There doesn't seem to be any type of language that says that you need to be a member for a certain period of time. So if you're interested, just go ahead and sign up so that you have the maximum flexibility if you do want to consider buying points and a lot of points. Now, this is the best offer since November of 2023 when they had this same situation. So just as an example, if you buy 400,000 miles, that would be at a cost of $7,525. Now that $1.88 per mile, if you were doing the cost per point, cents per point, it's not as good as what it's valued, but it's all in how you choose to use it. If you can be able to do some excellent type of redemptions for that, if it fits for what you are planning. So don't be discouraged by the 1.88 cents. Now that's of course at the full 50%. And so this structure could be different for you. They say that there may be some variation to this, but I went into my American Airlines account, and this is the same exact structure I saw. So up to 6,000 to 24,000 miles, 15%, 25% for 25,000 to 104,000, 105,000 to 149,000, 30%, 150,000 to 399,000 miles, 40%. And then if you do top it out at 400,000 miles, that's where the 50% kicks in. Now, a couple of redemptions that could be something that would make this worth it if you really are paying attention to points, cents per point. Although I always tell you, just have the information as a baseline, but don't let that deter you of how you may want to use those miles. So 70,000 miles one way from the US to the Middle East in Qatar Q Suites, 80,000 miles from US to Japan on Japan Airlines in first class. Not necessarily always the easiest to get, but they are available. So I'll have a link for that. But if you go into your account and go to buy miles, you will be able to see that and be able to see what's available to you. So take a look at that. That may be something if you got a redemption in mind to be able to do this. Obviously, American Airline points are not the easiest to get, especially now that they're no longer with Bilt and we don't have another credit card issuer of the major ones that are doing anything with it. So that may be an option for you if you are looking to do redemptions. Now, the first thing, on this one, this was one Reddit topic I wanted to touch on, and I thought it was interesting. And it was basically a person that was essentially asking if anyone else felt hesitant to spend points. The person was looking to book a flight and could cover it in its entirety with the chase points and still have 60 to 75% of what they've accrued left. So obviously a lot of miles or points rather. Now, the main things that were stopping the person was they took so long to get the points and liked seeing them. And by using points, am I missing out on getting points from making credit card purchases on big ticket items, etc.? So some of the responses that were kind of coming through was people had no concerns. Some people focused on preferring cash back with high yield savings accounts. One person said they're worthless until you use them. And one of the things that I liked about it is better to have memories than dreams. I think that this was interesting because, and I'll say just from my experience, I'll be interested to hear you all's experience. When I started out getting points and miles, I was that point and mile watcher. I loved seeing the high balances. It was amazing to me to be able to do a sign up bonus and then get 50,000, 70,000, 100,000 points. You get multiple cards with that and just rack up over a million points and miles. And it's in it for at the beginning, it was like that. But I think the key thing that should make people feel more comfortable of spending their points and miles is having a plan, knowing why you're doing this to begin with. And it doesn't have to be something specific to say, I know I want to go to Disney World with the family in this month, in this year. Sure, the information is good, but just to have a pathway of knowing what you want is going to end up helping you to gather those points of miles efficiently. But more importantly, you'll know when you want to pull the trigger on spending those points and miles because you know what you were going for. And that few years of being in this now, that is exactly what I end up doing. I know why I'm doing collecting points. I have an idea of when I'm going to use them. And so having a plan should make things easier. And I'm curious of what you all's thoughts are about accumulating those points and spending them. And do you all have a problem of pulling the trigger on spending them because of what you did to put that effort in and to gather those miles? And maybe you might be a point watcher like I was originally. And I see John chimed in with points are worth nothing until they're used. You're right. It's fine to look at and to enjoy to a certain extent, but you're on the clock. You're between devaluation of those points, which will happen each and every year, or opportunities that go past you. I see RJ said, for some small things, I do save points if I can cover it on a card to make more points, but points are like ideas. Until they are put to use, they are worthless. Now, I like that. And it's true. Gathering them is just to hoard them with no plan is not going to suit you well at all. So I would definitely say to have that plan in place and then know what you're doing and why you're doing it. I see. Yeah, but I think accumulating with a goal is fine. Yeah, I don't know about everybody, but like for me, when I'm accumulating points, I only take pretty much 1 to 2 trips a year. And especially if it's a nice trip, it may be once a year, or I may have to skip a year to accumulate the points and all. So having that thing for me, knowing that this is why I'm doing it, and I risk devaluation and all, but I don't have a free schedule to be able to go when I want, and that's probably the case for many people. So as long as you've got that plan, it's okay if it's going to take you a year or 6 months or whatever time it is to do it, because you're going to plan for it. You're going to be aware of it, and you're going to know that there's a chance that those points might devalue, or they might, or certain opportunities are not going to come be available again. Um, and I see John says, but sitting on 2 million points with no goal is to use them as dangerous. It is. I mean, what's the point of doing it if you're not going to pull the trigger? At least know when you're going to. So I completely agree. RJ says getting into this game without a plan is a downfall of so many. Yeah, it is. Everything from getting cards that doesn't get you closer to your goal in the most efficient way, whether you're taking up a card slot or you're paying an annual fee that's not directly going to help you. But that is completely correct as far as having no plan is only going to damage you at some point. So I really appreciate y'all's thoughts on this. It's a lot to. It's definitely something for people to be concerned, regardless of what time in the game you are. It's easier to be, as I say for myself, it's easier to watch those points and miles when you're early in the game. But get the plan together. Don't wait, and have a plan and know what you're doing. So thank you so much for being able to provide your comments and all, and definitely continue to do that even afterwards, after the show. So I thought I would try to throw out something each week of a bargain redemption of the week. Not necessarily in the United States, but just something that I saw for something very low in points and miles that somebody may be able to take care, be able to do, and not feel like they have to save up for it necessarily. And so for this week's bargain redemption, we're going to talk about the Avianca Award, which is a 2-for-1 sale that they have going on right now. Now, the sale goes through July 4th, 2024. Now, I had to learn what Greenwich Mean Time is, because they say this will end at 23:59 GMT, which is Greenwich Mean Time. So for people in the United States, if you're in the Pacific time zone, that would be 8 hours behind. If you're in the Mountain Standard Time, 7 hours, Central Standard 6, and Eastern Standard Time 5. Don't if you're interested in this, don't wait, because who knows what that if somebody shuts this down early. Now the travel dates are pretty specific from what I've seen on their website. September 1st through October 31st, and it's limited seating. You can do it for up to 8 people on one reservation. Now the mileage is a return, so you're not getting the discount up front. You'll get the return of the buy one get one free with your award points. You'll get it within 15 days of the trip completion. But look at some of these things, especially if you've been interested in looking at Central America, South America, for some really nice opportunities to be able to go. You can go from Miami to 6 different locations, and it starts at only 5,550 life miles. And that is before you would do your 2-for-1 with your um, uh, player 2 on that. Orlando has 3 different locations that it goes to for 6,670 life miles. JFK in New York has 7 locations starting at 6,810 life miles. DC through Dulles has 6 locations starting at 7,540 life miles. Then you have Ontario, which only has 1, which goes to San Salvador, starting at 8,260 life miles. LAX has 1 trip to Guatemala City, starting at 8,770 life miles. San Francisco, 2 locations starting at 8,830 life miles. And lastly, Dallas Fort Worth going to San Salvador for 13,430. It's a very low price entry, and Avianca is basically transfer partners with so many that if you've ever had a thought of maybe taking a trip to Central America, South America, this may be something for you. And I just wanted to bring something a little bit different to be able to see, so that people didn't necessarily always have to look for the highest number of miles that they have to accumulate to be able to take a trip that they maybe not even have considered. So I'm hopeful that's helpful. I'll put a link for the Avianca site, and you'll be able to see more details about the specific locations that would be available to you. And that would be flying Avianca essentially to all of these locations. The next item is the Ilisian, I believe is how it's pronounced, in Athens. Now, this is going to be a Hilton luxury development in Athens. Um, so it's set to open next year in 2025, and it's inspired by the Ilissos, if I'm pronouncing it right, Ilissos River and the Ilisian neighborhood of where that name comes from. Now, it's been under construction for the last couple of years, but the concept was not really known. So the construction was going on, but no name was really attached to their construction that was going out there. Now, it is located at the former Hilton Athens location that closed in 2022, but it first opened all the way back in 1963. Now, this property will include multiple places in this compound, as it's referred to. You'll have the Conrad Athens Hotel with 278 guest rooms. Then you'll have the Conrad Athens Residences, which will be 18 hotel residences. And then lastly, but definitely not least, the Waldorf Astoria Athens Residences, which will be 37 of them, of course, on the upper floors of the building. There's really, from what I've read, I've not had the opportunity to be in Athens yet. I'll be curious if any of you all have been to Athens. There's no hotel development like this. A lot of different boutique hotels, but this location could be a destination by itself. They say that a lot of people, that Athens is not necessarily the destination. It's kind of the stop that you do as you continue to other locations. So it'll be interesting to see how this will go. I'll put a link in the description that has some different renderings, and there's a little video of it as well, at least kind of to make you have a good feeling about it. So I'll put those there for you so that you can be able to take a look and see if Greece would be in you all's future going in 2025. The next item is Amex acquiring a new dining platform, Tock. Now, they acquired the dining platform for $400 million. This is in addition to Resi, which most people know if you've had the American Express card back in 2019, and it's a competitor of Resi. Clearly, Amex is doubling down on this, providing dining experiences with these two platforms, and all of the talk from them and from management, a couple of executives, was talking about that they believe that this was enhancing the lifestyle perk, and that means something to its cardholders. Now, I'm definitely not, I'm not probably the best person to speak to these dining platforms, Resi as well as Tock. I have a credit for Resi through my Delta credit card. That's a new enhancement. I've not used it. I'm not sure if I will. Now, I'm not in a major city, but there are a couple of Resi-related restaurants that are nearby. Neither of them really tickle my fancy. So the Resi, it's obviously doing something. I just don't get really anything out of it myself as a card holder. Of course, my problem with this is based upon the next topic I'm going to talk about, which has selfishly does negatively impact me as a American Express card holder. And that item is that most of the escape lounges are now going to be part of Priority Pass, which I was not happy to see. So as far as the escape lounges, I'm not sure if everybody's aware of them, but the escape lounges, there's 21 of them. There's 6 in the UK, and there's 15 spread out in the United States, mostly at regional airports. They may say international, but it's pretty much a regional airport. The access was through cash or through a partnership with Amex. Up until now, Priority Pass had the UK locations as well as one, I believe it was one location here in the United States. But that's now going to change because now Priority Pass is going to get access to pretty much all of the U.S. escape lounges, which will be 10 of them. And as far as where they're located, you've got Bradley International Airport, John Glenn in Columbus. You have the Cincinnati, Kentucky Airport, Greenville, Spartanburg, South Carolina, Minneapolis, Oakland, Phoenix, Rhode Island, and there's 2 in Sacramento. Um, Now, my wife is in the game due to me being in the game of points and miles. Um, when I told her this, she instantly knew that this was not a good thing for us. We don't have a Centurion Lounge where I'm located. We do have an escape lounge, and it is a small location. Even with just Amex card holders, it gets filled up pretty quick. So from a when I say about now the 4 lounges, I should say 4 lounges that are not included in this is the Fort Lauderdale Hollywood location, Palm Beach, Phoenix, and the Reno Tahoe location. Now, if you are a priority pass holder and you can access escape lounges, you will enjoy it. I've been to a couple of them. I liked the setting. The service was very good. The food is what you would expect. It's a baby brother, I'll call it, to the Centurion. So it's not necessarily up to that one, but it is better than most priority passes that I at least have been to. So I'm excited for people that have not had that opportunity and can be able to utilize their priority pass. Now, selfishly, I am very disappointed. I was very, I know that I'm now going to have more problems being able to use that escape lounge for where I'm located at. And so I wish that, and I don't know what the whole business situation would have been with American Express. And that's why I say that this was something as a card holder that if you're not near in a Centurion Lounge, to not have that little bit of exclusivity on escape really does take it down for me from the lounge standpoint with American Express. So don't know if others of you all have had the opportunity to see the escape lounge or if you've utilized it. So I'll be curious of what you all's thoughts are on that. Yep, John. Like I said, my wife, who's not, she knew as soon as I said that we were in trouble. And so definitely not looking forward to that at all. Yeah, congratulations on the Sky Club. Definitely not one where I'm located at. And Matt says, Kiki Adventures mentioned that the Rhode Island was recently packed. Yeah, yeah, that's good information to be able to get from her on that. Um, Thought the Amex owned. To be honest, I thought they owned it as well until I read that. I don't know how they had essentially an exclusive agreement with Escape Lounges here in the United States for most of the United States, and why they did not pony up some money to keep that exclusivity. Um, so that's why I made the comment as far as them acquiring the dining platform. That's fine and dandy, but if I've got the choice of one or the other, I want my escape lounges to remain exclusive. But like I said, it's a bit selfish on my part. So if you don't have the American Express card, but you have Priority Pass, congratulations. You have another opportunity to have a better lounge experience in most cases. So I just wanted to pass that on to you all and then pass on my disappointment. Now, of course, we do have the new Delta One JFK is now open. We talked about this. So it opened up, I believe it was yesterday, but today is the first full day of regular hours, which is 4:30 a.m. to 11 p.m. It is in Terminal 4, which we've talked a lot about a lot of different lounges being in Terminal 4. Just a few things, and we talked about this before. It is the largest Sky Club in the network. And I don't think it's even that close at over 39,700 square feet. They have seating for 500 guests. The full service brazier, which is, excuse me, The three-course meal service can seat 140. They even provide beverage cart service to come around so that you don't even have to get up at times to be able to get something to drink. Um, Dedicated wellness area. They have 9 relaxation pods, and then of course 8 shower suites for it. If you haven't seen the renderings, well, the pictures now of it, I'll make sure to put a link in the description. It is absolutely gorgeous. It's beautiful. Now, how about access? Because when last time I talked about this, didn't necessarily know how that access was going to be, because I talked about the difference between American and United as far as how they provided access. So, as far as access, if you are on a same day departing or arriving Delta One ticketed passenger, you get in. If you're a Delta 360 member departing or arriving on the same day in Delta first class, you can get in. Same day departing or connecting passengers on flights operated by select Delta partners in first or business class, you can get in, which they had it listed as Air France, LATAM, KLM, Korean Air, and Virgin Atlantic. Now, one thing to keep in mind, if you're over there at JFK and that might tie to you, only KLM, LATAM, and Virgin depart from Terminal 4. And as far as I believe, you're going to have to come in and out of different concourses. It's not like where you can go into one concourse and stay and be able to stay within the secure area, moving into different concourses. You will have to build in time to come in and out. And then as far as guests, only Delta 360 members can bring an immediate family member, spouse, or a domestic partner, and children under 21, or um, up to 2 companions, I should have said, for an entry fee of $100 or 10,000 Delta Sky Miles per person. So very interested. I would, if I can get myself a good deal to fly maybe Delta to Europe, one of those 50,000 points and miles trip to Europe, be able to have the opportunity to do that. I see that John talked about looking forward to being at the Delta One Lounge in JFK in October. Congratulations. Oh, that's right. That's on your way to Iceland. For those that don't know, John is the king of Iceland. He is their king slash prince, as well as their PR person. So definitely let us know when you get there and come back of how that location was, and be able to share that with us. So that is what we have for Delta One JFK. And then I wanted to touch on Reddit topic number 2, and I want to morph this up a little bit more, and once again share my thoughts and get you all's thoughts as well. And this is going to be on rebuilding your credit and credit card management. So it was a pretty simple question that was asked in Reddit, and it was basically that they've seen that the Credit One and the Open Sky mentioned shouldn't be used. Who else to stay away from and why? So the responses and thoughts were basically about the Black Card, the Luxury Card, which we've all seen, as well as Credit One. And so I wanted to just share my thoughts, and maybe it might help some people if you are in the rebuilding of your credit process. Um, Obviously, it's very easy to have credit issues. A lot of times it can just be as simple as medical bills, which can obviously happen to anybody. And then you have people that make bad choices. And so I'm going to say that I'm taking this from the view of a person that, as myself, that made terrible choices years ago. And so I had to go through the rebuilding of the credit process. And I can tell you that the credit cards that I had as a struggling, uneducated person about credit cards, I had the Credit One card, I had the Mission Lane card, I had the Alo card, which now Ally owns, I believe. I also had some Mission Lane, Alo, Merrick Bank, um, and then of course Credit One. So I've done the rebuilding of the credit process. I've had the bad cards, and To me, what makes a bad credit card if you're rebuilding is monthly annual fees. I didn't worry about the interest rate um, on them. And mainly the reason was because of the fact that all of my credit cards were 300, $500 was all I had as a credit limit. So it wasn't difficult to be able to pay it. The problem was that with Credit One, I think with Alo I had it as well. Mission Lane, I didn't have a monthly fee, but I paid a monthly fee for that Credit One card, and I think I was paying 7 or 8, $6 or $8 a month on that card as part of an annual fee that I got charged each month. So if you are in the rebuilding, the best advice I can give is take a moment initially and take a deep breath because it's going to be a marathon. It's definitely not a sprint. The thing that you can at least hold on to the fact is that by doing that is that the numbers will work itself out. You will be able to get back to where you want to or get further ahead than you want to. But depending upon your situation, it's going to take some time and you're going to have to be patient. It's going to be a wary process. And if you're a person like me that had $500 credit cards, then the question was, well, how do I even manage it? I go to the grocery store and I could spend the whole credit limit out. And so if you're in that situation, the main thing I would say is that spend on the card, but the first thing you need to be aware of is be aware of the statement closing date, not the date that you're required to pay it, the statement closing date, and you can be able to find that on your statement of when they close. Spend whatever you need to or want to, but before that statement closing date occurs, give it about a day or two and pay off the credit card other than maybe like 3%, 5% at the most, because you still want the credit card company, the bureaus to be able to see that you are using the card. Because if you pay it off all at once before the statement credit date, then it'll basically look like you haven't spent anything. And now I know that is some extra time, it's some extra effort, but if you are dealing with a $300 or $500 credit card like I did, you are going to have to put some time in because you're essentially going to be managing a credit card, unfortunately, that can only take you so far. So it's something that I would suggest doing that. Um, and obviously, the money that you spend on that card is on things that you need for quote unquote everyday spend that you have the money to pay it back. And be able to push through if you're already in that situation. Now, if you have not gotten in that situation of being with one of those bad credit cards like I had, then there are a lot of credit cards these days that you could look at if you are rebuilding your credit. And it may be a secured credit card. I definitely had one of those as well for a period of time. And so, same situation, look at what you need the card for. And if you don't see that you can get a good card with no annual fee as you're trying to rebuild the credit, then look at considering doing um, uh, a secured credit card, two, $300 or more. But those are things to kind of keep in mind. And I wanted to be able to kind of share my experience with you all to basically say that it happens to a lot of people. And like I said, some it's outside of their control with medical bills. In mine, it was perfectly controllable. I was just acting a fool. And that's what happened with me. So definitely don't want to see people get into those kind of situations and feel like you're stuck on things. Been there myself, Damien. You've joined the club. You're right. It's unfortunately a large club for many of us on this. But like I said, and what John has been able to do, you can work your way through it. You can work your way out, but it's just a marathon for it. So be ready for the marathon. Get your shoes on, the not the track shoes. Get the marathon shoes on, and just work your way through the process. And be honest with yourself, and you'll be able to get through this like many people did, and you'll be better on the other side because you'll learn so much about what happened and why. So just wanted to kind of throw those things out, and I appreciate John chiming in with his thoughts on things, and want to make sure if anybody else has any questions or thoughts or anything about anything we've covered today, but wanted to make sure or any questions that can be answered on anything that I can help with. And so I'll give it a minute just to see if there's any questions or thoughts or anything that anyone has. Okay. And no, looks like we're good. Well, I really appreciate everybody's stopping in for this points and miles report. I am hopeful that it was helpful to you and makes your week a bit better. I will get this up with chapters shortly thereafter. So if you missed anything and just wanted to focus on certain areas, you'll be able to do that. And once again, thank you for everyone that joined today. Really appreciate you taking your time to be able to watch. And thank you so much. And everybody have a great evening. And thank you, Fashion Forward. And you're welcome for this. And hopefully you saw that I finally got that Capital One video out. I'm sorry it took me so long to get it out. It just was much more time consuming than I thought it was going to be. And so I'm hopeful that it was helpful for you as well. But everybody take care and have a great day.